the heartbeat of the earth. The hands that give life its worth. With every step, they break new ground. Harvesting hope from all around. Through every season, through highs and lows. The untold journey, the heroes grow. Harvest heroes, rising strong. Building tomorrow all day long.
Hello guys, welcome to episode 19. Guys, I can't imagine we're already at episode 19 of the Harvest Hero podcast. Thank you to our faithful listeners, to people sending me messages on WhatsApp that I really like the podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you for the connection you're doing. I see a lot of connection already happening through this podcast. We thank you. We are in December, guys. Christmas is here, New Year is coming. Happy birthday to all the people born in December. This is just such a special month to prepare for the year 2025. So thank you so much, guys. So today we have a very, very special guest, Mr. Danmore, that will be joining us today from Zimbabwe. He's our country coordinator of Agricodeexpo Zimbabwe, and he'll be joining us. Thank you, Mr. Danmore. It's such a pleasure to have you. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Susie, for giving me this opportunity.
So without wasting time, we really want to know more about you. So can you start with just presenting yourself?
All right. Thank you so much. So my name is Danmore Matutu. I'm the country coordinator for Agricodeexpo in Zimbabwe. So basically, Zimbabwe, in relating to agricultural context, Zimbabwe is a rich history and significant potential, but there are a lot of various challenges we're also facing as a country. Agriculture is a key sector in the economy, employing a large number of people in the country and contributing significantly to the gross domestic policy. It also plays a critical role when it comes to food security issues across the country. And for us in Zimbabwe, maize is the most important staple crop, but because of rainfall shortages, people are also trying to divert to and use drought-tolerant crops like sorghum and millet. But we also do cash crops in the country. And on cash crops, we have tobacco, cotton, sugarcane, and horticultural products, which are also major cash crops. But as a country, we are well known for high-quality tobacco, making it a significant exporter to a number of countries like South Africa and China. But overall, we have the potential for recovery and growth as we keep addressing these historical issues and improving infrastructure and adapting to climate challenges as a country. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And our next question is, what inspired you to pursue your field in what you're doing right now? I know you're doing your PhD right now. So what inspired you to even go further to that level?
All right. So I grew up in a rural farming community where agriculture was the primary livelihood activities, and I was quite involved in a number of farming activities, learning about the importance of crop rotation, soil health, and the impact of weather patterns on the yields. Though I'm not much involved into farming these days, but I am actively involved in my community. I often share knowledge with some of my fellow community members about the best practices in irrigation, crop management, because we have a irrigation scheme there. But as an individual, I aim to expand farming activities and explore value-added processing crops and inspire younger generations in the community to pursue agriculture as a viable and sustainable career path. But, as a developing country, we have limited resources. But I've been always encouraging, especially the marginalized communities within the country to collaborate with non-governmental organizations, especially when it comes to improving food security in remote areas where non-governmental organizations can help to provide agricultural training, for example, on the sustainable practices of farming. They can also try to facilitate access to quality seeds and irrigation technology. We have a number of organizations like that in Zimbabwe. And they can also establish market connections so that they ensure fair prices between the farmers. So engaging local community in decision making is quite played a critical role because they can support infrastructure development and implement nutrition programs which can enhance dietary quality for a number of communities across the country. But overall, I think there is need to promote resilience to climate change and advocate for supportive policies that further strengthen the food security initiatives. Because I believe that with these strategies, we can foster sustainable development and improve livelihoods in rural communities. Thank you.
We can definitely foster sustainable development and improve livelihood in the rural communities with those the SDGs and many other NGOs chipping in making that work. So thank you for sharing on that. So our next question is: can you share a moment in your career that felt like, oh, this is the turning point that makes you think things that made things change in your life and say, okay, this is a new beginning. This is something that changed your point of view in general.
All right, thank you. So, in general, I've always loved farming, but growing up as a kid, parents may have other plans, so that you need to pursue your career, a lot about some of these things. So, I had to pursue my career, but I've always believed that it's good to come back to the roots. So these days, I'm trying to balance between my career path and try to also get involved much into agricultural activities. Recently, I got a farm from my uncle, gave me a space, said maybe you can just try out, the rain season is coming, just give it a try. So I'm not doing large scale farming. So I'm thinking maybe if I start small scale farming or maybe just a community garden so that I can manage the risk. And then with the time, I can gradually expand my operations, so that I can gain the confidence and the knowledge, trying to balance between the two, my career and also something I'm passionate with.
Definitely. It always starts with the little things you do that makes it grow to a bigger thing. We don't start with the big scales. Like when Agricodeexpo started, it was not 10,000 members, or it was just like 5 or 4, and we started with that. And from there, you build on and have something big. So I'm definitely sure you're going to have something amazing after that. You start with that little farm. So our next question is: what are some common misconceptions people have about you doing agriculture? And can you share with us a little bit about which field you're doing in your PhD career?
All right, it's okay. So for my PhD, I am focusing on ways to improve habitability within landscapes, but primarily it's focusing on governance issues, taking a look at how best can we try to shift from our pre-colonial era, trying to incorporate some of our own native ways of sustenance before before the colonial era. But um, the project is mainly focused on urban landscapes, taking a look on how we can improve the adaptability of the environment, taking a look at the wetlands, the open spaces we have in urban areas, how best can we improve the adaptability within these landscapes.
Yeah, I think it will be an amazing program you can have. And while you were talking about it, I was thinking of having a program where you can actually train people on that note. Now we went digital, and you can have a training session, even if it's just like once a week or once a month, where you come in and train the people about this. So by that, you're already doing the impact on your level, and by training them, you don't know who is in the hall, because they never know who is in the hall. That can say, okay, I love the way you think. Why not try to do it physically? You think we can collaborate, because collaboration is the key to make things happen. So that would be something we definitely have to look into. That would be amazing. So our next question
Yes.
is, what motivates you to keep going during challenges? Because I know challenges never missed in nobody's life, but what keeps you going?
Okay, so first, I would like to say that I grew up with my uncle at some point before he passed. So, he has always tried to push me to go an extra mile. So, all these years, though he passed, I've been trying so hard so that I can just impress him. So, my aunt always comes say, Danny, so please try to make sure that wherever your uncle is, if he sees what you're doing, I'm sure he'll be impressed. So I've been always trying to go an extra mile. I know it's crazy, but somehow it just gives me the strength to go an extra mile in everything I do.
That is not crazy. Definitely, it definitely is not crazy, and we do it in our daily life. Sometimes with for other people that are alive, other people that have gone to meet the Lord, we do the same thing. We want to impress them, but definitely, at the end of it all, you will notice that the only person you really have to impress is yourself,
Yes.
and you're really trying to be at that level where yourself is okay with whatever you're doing. Yourself is like at that moment of fulfillment, and the competition level is really with yourself, not with others. So definitely, that's not crazy. That's definitely something that happens, and it is definitely okay to do that. It also pushes you to go forward. Whenever you're down, you're like, okay, I cannot deceive this person, I need to go forward. And we reach at that level where we are like, okay, it's not more about this person, it's about my life, it's about me. Now I want to do this for me. So definitely. Our next question is, what's a project or let me say it right. What's a project or accomplishment that really influenced your career?
Okay, so I've worked on a number of several projects, but what really touches me is that I've worked with a number of marginalized communities in the country, across the country. So, as I have told you before, that in most cases, we have communities that are struggling given they have limited resources. So, I think as an individual, what really pushes me to try to help these people. I know I may not have the resources, but I think capacity building on its own, it's something that can help these communities. Because, for example, when it comes to agriculture, these people, they need to stay updated on agricultural trends, the technology, the best practices. It might be through workshop, seminars, or online resources. So with something like this, it may not seem like it's much, but going down to these marginalized communities, trying to update them on the agricultural trends, the current technology, the basic practices that they can use, be it the workshops, the seminars, the focus group discussions, and giving them an opportunity to connect with other agricultural organizations. It could be maybe local farmers, industry professionals, I think creating a network for these communities can provide support, mentorship, and potential partnerships that can benefit them.
They can definitely provide that support, as you said. So our next question is, we want to talk about what does success really mean for you in your field?
Right. So in my field, when it comes to relating to agricultural context, is profitability. So when we're talking about profitability, there are a lot of things that we also need to factor in. Like for example, as farmers, there is need to understand the market itself. Research market demands and trends to grow crops or raise livestock that are on high demand. So this then allows the local farmers that they ensure that when they go with their products to be it as suppliers, be it the supermarkets, etc., we try to ensure that there is profitability when it comes to agricultural outputs. So to me, that's success. Although they may face some failures, it doesn't mean that when you always have good yields, but for me, success when it comes to agricultural activities is having a profitable uh, product.
Yes, you talked about success. You talked about failures. Definitely, failures is part of our journey. If you don't fail, I really, if you have a mentor that has never failed in his life, I don't advise you to go to that person. And because the failure makes us who we are today. It's because of the failures of yesterday that we are actually strong and we know what not to do the next time we are trying to do something. So the failure definitely is part of the journey and even part of the success, bigger than what we think. And our next question is, what is the most surprising thing you have learned about the agricultural field in which you are right now with time? Like, what's the most surprising thing you didn't know and then you learned about?
Yes, so there is a community I was engaged with. I think it was mid June or July. So I was just surprised with the resilience among the youths within this community. As we just said before, agriculture in itself can be very challenging. So
It can
the
be.
way, yes, it is challenging actually. So the way they cultivate resilience and adaptability, trying to overcome some of these obstacles, learning from their failures, it was surprising for me because they are actually doing good. Saying that yes, we have climate change and we so forth, but the way they are moving forward, it's quite surprising.
The adaptability according to their situation, that's the amazing feature a human being has. We have the ability to adapt whatever you put us. We
Yes.
adapt to it. That's just so amazing. So our next question is, how do you stay in like the creativity and the innovation part in agriculture? There's a lot of new things every day, new methods comes out. So how do you stay on trend? Like, this is the method I want to use in the farming process. This is the method that is suitable to be used in the farming process.
All right, it's okay. Thank you. So yes, we are in the southern region of the Africa, and Zimbabwe is a developing country. But my experience working with farmers across the country, there is need to consider innovation. So as farmers, be it large scale farmers or small scale farmers, we need to explore modern agricultural techniques. For example, I'll give you an example. Now we have precision farming or organic farming, which can enhance productivity and sustainability when it comes to farming. So the challenge it might be because as for the small scale farmers that have limited resources, but I have quite a number of farmers that I know that are operating at large scales that have been using like climate smart agriculture. So, with the use of precision farming, they have statistics, um raw data that shows that with this, with time, they can improve their yields across the country. So I think it's something that we also need to consider, considering innovation as farmers. It's something that we also need to factor in.
Wow, thank you. Really something we have to take into consideration. So our next question is, how do you sorry, is what advice will you give to somebody that wants to follow your footstep that you're taking right now? Go forward to do the PhD in the field they really want to in agriculture.
All right. The first thing is, I always tell my younger brothers is you have to have passion with something that you want. And there is also need to embrace sustainability, focusing on sustainable practices that protect be it the environment and conserving the resources which are increasingly valued in the market, something that has been helpful for me. And education on its own, trying to pursue formal education in agricultural science. We have a number of projects, a number of programs like agronomy, etc. Or we have a number of diplomas on sustainable farming practices. It's something that tries to build a strong foundation for you as an individual. And I think this is something that is very useful.
Thank you. It's definitely something that is very, very useful. So we have a question for you. I love to ask this question because it really shows you like what you want to do in the future in general. So the question is, if you have unlimited resources, what's one project or initiative you would love to take on?
Okay. Yes, I know. This issue of funding and support, it's something that is very challenging for a lot of farmers, especially when it comes to young farmers thinking that they need financial assistance and resources to kickstart their agricultural journey. But given that I have limited resources,
Unlimited. Unlimited. That means you
unlimited
have,
resources.
yes. So
Oh,
if you
unlimited
had
resources.
unlimited resources, what one project or initiative you would love to take on?
Okay, fine. So I've been taking a look at the trends as I've discussed it before, and noticed that currently in Zimbabwe there is this market for boer goats. It's something that is emerging. I'm not sure where it's going, but the research trends across the sector. It seems it's something that may actually bring something to the table. So, given that I have unlimited resources, I think I would try to get a space for something like this and see where it takes me.
Perfect. This is just the start. When we ask question like this, you can start without the unlimited resources. Just by starting to have like the contact and the information about it is the beginning of it all. And our next question is, how does your work actually shape your perspective of life and the world in general?
All right. So my work is about gaining the practical experience. Practical experience. So I've been working with farmers for quite some time now, and you know, gaining hands-on experience and learning from seasoned farmers, it's something that shapes your perspective towards something that is sustainable because they can provide valuable insights into day-to-day operations. That is something that is quite useful and it really channels my energy towards something.
I'm very happy to know about that. you have there's something that helps you to channel your energy. So the next question we have for you is, what's a challenge you are currently facing and how did you overcome it, or how are you trying to overcome that challenge?
Okay, so the major challenge at this point, as I discussed it before, is that we have limited resources. So I have come to realize that there is need for us as youths to look for grants, subsidies, and programs that support young farmers. There are a lot of projects that support us as youth, and I think this is something which can provide financial assistance and resources to do a lot of projects across the country,
Wow, that is
given
really,
the opportunity
yeah.
arises.
Perfect. That is really very, very important. The finances, hopefully you get in contact with the people, and I would
Yes.
love to put you in contact with some people that can help you in that project. So our last question is, like, how do you balance your work with the other aspect of your life? I know sometimes when you start working or you start going to the field, you're like all in it. You forget that you also have like a life outside. So how do you balance that?
I won't lie to you. It's tough. Um, yeah, it's very challenging actually. But yeah, it's tough. But these days, what I'm doing is I try to prioritize some of the tasks. If something is needed, be it at school or at work, I try to prioritize and do that so that I won't have any issues.
I know it's not easy, especially as a student. PhD student requires a lot of energy to even be a student and then work again. I know it's not easy, but I know you're making some effort in it. So the last question we have for you is like, what advice can you give to somebody listening to us today? Somebody maybe that wants to, a youth that wants, maybe not only youth that want to go into the agricultural field, and it's like, I'm not sure where to start. So what advice can you give to the person?
Okay, so if someone is doesn't have maybe the background in agriculture, maybe the first start is to try to find a number of projects that can that he or she can enroll to, so that can provide some sort of like a foundation on how to do agricultural activities. And then the most important thing I've come to realize when it comes to agriculture is networking. It's very powerful. So there is need to connect with a number of agricultural organizations. You may also need to visit a number of local farmers, industry professionals, so that you try to build a network that can provide support, especially on mentorship, something that can having a number of people within your circles that can mentor you on something that you want to do. It can something that will be very fruit that can bring fruitful results, especially when you have potential partnerships like that.
Wow, that's very interesting. It talks about something collaboration and mentorship. That is very, very important. If you want to start in agriculture or any field, you need a mentor. It is important, and you need to be able to collaborate with other people. So thank you so much for sharing with us, Danmo. It's just a pleasure to have you on board right away from Zimbabwe. And thank you for joining us today. We have come to the end of our episode. Thank you so much for joining us. So, guys, we are at the end of our episode. Thank you for our faithful followers. Thank you for our faithful listeners. And thank you for your daily feedback on what you think about the program and your comments. To you people are wonderful, wonderful guests. And here we are on the 19 episodes that will be coming out very, very, very soon. Thank you, guys. Thank you for following us. And we have come to the end of this episode. Bye, guys.
They are the heartbeat of the earth, the hands that give